Welcome, everybody, to Glitch in the Matrix, the Apocalypse. This is your host, Ali Taj Bey, recording live. This one is, man, this is one for the ages right here, man. It took me a long time of studying to get to this point and to actually figure this out. And I'm here ready to share with you. Just trying to get my screen together. If you could bear with me. I know that if I don't blow the screen up, it looks really small when you're looking at this on your cell phone. So I just want to make sure that I can, it's kind of floating around. I'm trying to make sure that I can get this big enough for you to actually see. All right, let's see what we got. All right. So we're going to speak about invoice factoring. And I'm going to give you a little overview to let you understand. This pretty much pertains to every transaction where you incur basically a inquiry on your credit report. So whether you're applying for a credit card, whether you're applying for store credit, whether it's a car purchase, a yacht purchase, helicopter, a home, any of those things where you're exchanging your property, which is also known as your data. When you give up, government IDs, when you give up birth certificates, social security numbers, any of these instruments, passports, all of these things have account numbers that are tied to them, and all of these account numbers are tied to securities accounts. And this is pretty much what it means when it said that they are running a credit check. A credit check and an inquiry is considered to be a credit pull. In the financial world, a pull means a drawdown of funds. So they are actually accessing money for whatever purchase it is that you're making at that time, unbeknownst to you. And we're going to see why and how this is actually not only legal, yeah, I guess it's legal, but it's not lawful. So we're going to jump into it. Enough delay. Here we go. All right. So what is invoice discounting? All right. Let me see. So this screen is not working with me. I'm trying to just get it big enough for you guys. All right. So invoice discounting is a type of invoice financing which helps support a company's growth. It is an asset-based working capital solution that allows business to draw down funds. I was just speaking about that against outstanding invoices rather than waiting to be paid. This is important where it says businesses to draw down funds against outstanding invoices. So replace the word outstanding with default because that's the definition in the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act of a creditor. It's someone who obtains, I think it's an account that is in default. And so outstanding, and I'm going to see if I'll see the word outstanding here, but I'm just looking this up for you real quick. Because it should, the word default should show up. I'm going to just take a quick look and see if I can find that. It's similar. Okay, right here. Outstanding debts. So it's similar. I haven't seen the word yet. Oh, right here. It's not default, but yeah, delinquent, but it's unpaid, it's unsettled, owing, owed, to be paid, payable, receivable, which is a good word because it's actually called invoice receivables or account receivables. Due, overdue, see, overdue. So it's in default, undischarged, in arrears, in the red, meaning negative, meaning they still owe you. Delinquent, past due, paid. I don't know what it says. Oh, okay, it's acronyms, paid and settled. All right. So we go back rather than waiting to be paid. So instead of waiting for you, if you're purchasing a car at 48 months, 36 months, or 60 months, they will get all of their money up front at a discount, because this is also called discount factoring, um, in exchange for the notes and also the account. So whatever you signed, which is the evidence of indebtedness, they're going to have to turn that over. And this will be deposited into a special purpose entity. So basically like a pass through, and then that will get passed over into a trust, is where it'll end up remaining. And that trust will actually hold your note off balance. It's called the off balance sheet um, book entries. So that way it's hitting off of their books and it's showing that it's not owing anymore, or that they don't owe a payable, because they still owe an obligation to you. And they have to wait, I think 30 days or so, to give you enough time to claim this, to come back and say, hey, I want to claim that instrument or the credits that you did not return to me. So the facility can be both disclosed and confidential discounting, which explains further below. So this is where it comes in when I was telling you about um, it's actually legal, but it's unlawful because everybody's pretty much crying about there wasn't for this full disclosure, and this is why. I'm going to explain this to you. Well, it's going to come up. Invoice discounting is a very attractive financing instrument during the company's growth phase, as it would require additional working capital injection to support the growth. The credit limit usually grows with the company, giving the company the cash flow they require. At the same time, invoice discounting is also very desirable during the credit crunch period, as financier will be able to use the invoices as collaterals. So this is collateral to make sure that you, the consumer who is unknowing of what is going on in these transactions, will continue to make timely payments. So it's basically future earnings, rather than offering a unsecured loan. So if you understood what this is saying right here, it's letting you know that that car that has the lien on it, that house that has the lien on it, is not the collateral. The collateral is the invoice. So use invoices as collaterals rather than offering an unsecured loan. So what it's saying right there is that it's not a secured loan, that is secured by a lien on real property. So how invoice discounting works: businesses deliver goods or services to the customer and raise an invoice. On the pages and cooperating. Okay, let me see. Okay. And raise an invoice. Business submits the raised invoice together with supporting document to the financier. So all of the credit application and the long form documents, whether if it's a house, it's going to be the promissory note and the mortgage. They should always move together. You cannot separate the mortgage from the note. Funds are then made available so as collateral, the submitted invoice within 2 to 3 days is when the car dealer or the mortgage broker or whoever we're discussing will receive the money in exchange for your promise to pay. Usually financier will advance between 70 and 90% of the invoice face value. So I discussed this in a lot of my other videos. Whatever you're signing, like for a home you're buying, if it's 364,000, or if it's 500,000, or if it's $1 million home, that's the face value of that notice, literally like a check. So he won't get the total amount, but the financer will advance between 70 and 90% of the invoice face value. A small percentage of fee will be charged against the invoice and may be taken upon the initial advance or settlement. Once the customer pays, the remaining balance will be returned to the business. Because remember, he's still going to owe either 30 to 10% that he had at discount. So once he starts collecting payments from you, he will actually pay that to the business. And this I've seen in car contracts where it says we reserve or retain a right to receive some or all of the finance charges. And this is what they're talking about. So they're being very honest in the contracts and they're telling you everything up front. Problem is, we can't understand what is being told to us, and most of us don't read the contract. So, different type of invoice financing: disclosed versus confidential discounting facility. Disclosed discounting facility. For a disclosed facility, all parties are aware and acknowledge the facility formally. This means that the customers will be informed and will settle their invoices to the financier directly. Business can leverage the customer's credit strength and achieve a low financing rate. So this is what we were just talking about. Businesses can leverage the customer's credit because it's a pull down. Confidential discounting facility. Invoice discounting can also be carried out confidentially. And this is where most or all transactions fall into. And they're also without recourse. So this means that the customers will be unaware of the financing. Look at that. It's right here and it's all legal. And there's plenty of companies that do this. And it's just so crazy that if you don't know these terms to search, this I almost can guarantee that you, no matter how much research that you were doing, this never would come up. So this is crazy. Allow the businesses to continue building a strong relationship with their customers. Spot versus whole turnover invoice discounting. Spot invoice discounting allows businesses to sell invoices as and when needed. It gives a full flexibility for business to draw down funds. Just speaking about this. So it's letting you know that I have a full grasp of this subject matter. I've been studying this stuff for years. And even though I knew that we were getting robbed, I just couldn't put it in the actual legal terms of what exactly was happening and taking place. And now I have more than enough evidence to approach transactions in a proper way and have a difference in how I'm doing business. So this is something I'm trying to teach to you as well. I know it's probably going to lead to a lot of questions. I post the videos and people will have questions. The thing is, this is so, how can I say the word? It's so deep in the research that from here, all you have to do is apply it. And I know many are going to say, well, how do I apply it? You might just want to study this. This is it. This is what they are doing. This is what is happening. This is you disclosing to them that you know what is happening in this transaction and that you are the lender in the transaction and that you never received anything of value. So there's not a lot of questions. There's more so that these questions are stuff that you need to answer yourself. You need to do the research and find the terms, get the definitions. You need to start getting into the UCC codes, especially in your state code. Your state has its own UCC code, and get very familiar with these transactions and terms so that you can present them properly. So let me see. Spot invoice discounting allows businesses to sell invoice. Okay, we said that. Drawdown funds. This may be more suitable for a more project-based business such as event management, media companies, construction. So construction, building houses, building lot malls, strip malls, all these things. Whole turnover invoice discounting is suitable for businesses that have regular sales. For example, wholesale distributor, long-term monthly contract with customers, see, it's car buying, mortgages, human resource providers. So this is basically jobs. This is um, basically like when you give your employer your social security number, you sign a voluntary withholding agreement. Um, you give your social, you give your birth certificate, your ID, all these things that you give. Yes, they're doing the same thing. So how invoice interchange can help your business. At Invoice Interchange, we offer a simple and flexible invoice discounting, invoice financing online solution, offering both disclosed and confidential discounting. You are able to opt in for either confidential or disclosed facility, as well as spot or whole turnover invoice discounting. It is extremely quick and simple and quick that funds will be available within 24 hours. Look at that. So when they're this can help you if you wanted to start a small car lot. If you already had the space available, you would have to be able to accommodate. And this is, I'm not sure if the rules have changed, but at least 10 vehicles. You would need to have space for 10 vehicles on your lot to become a licensed car seller or dealership. And then you can get into the contracts and invoice discounting and hook up with one of these companies like this and begin to make money the same way they're ripping you off. You know, I know it sounds unfair that you want to get into the business of ripping people off, but this is commerce. This is what is happening all around you. So here's another thing that I want you guys to know. I did a similar webinar, so I'm not going to try to repeat the exact same information, but I wanted to show you this as well. So if we go over here, it says file a UCC when purchasing accounts receivables. So this is what we were just speaking about. So the person who is buying the accounts, the invoice factoring account, should also be putting a UCC lien on the account. And the funny thing is, and I can't speak for all transactions because I haven't been in all transactions, but I've been in enough of my own and I've heard enough people inquiring and asking, and I've looked over contracts of people extensively. So I have a great idea that for the majority, they don't file these UCC ones. So this is what you need to do, because someone just asked me this on one of my videos earlier, is how do you make a claim? So this is what you do. If you read it, it said, I think it said 3 days or something, 24 to 36 hours, but you probably have a little more time than that. You have a little less than a month to get first in line to file your UCC one on the account. So it says, if you are purchasing the accounts receivable of another entity, make sure to file a UCC one. In fact, the authors of 6 Things Every Purchase of U.S. Commercial Accounts Receivable Should Know advise that when purchasing accounts receivable, a UCC filing is mandatory, not a precaution. So it's very important to file this. And like I said, they aren't filing them unless they are filing them on a pool, but you will be filing yours on the individual account and perfecting your interest or security interest in that account. So pursuant to UCC section 1201, subsection 37, the term security interest includes not only the interest of a lender secured by accounts and payment intangibles, but also the interest of a buyer of those interests. In addition, UCC section 9, or it's article 9, 109, subsection A3 provides that article 9 of the UCC specifically applies to a sale of accounts. That's exactly what we're talking about. Chattel paper, payment intangibles, or promissory notes. Together, these 2 provisions serve to require that an outright buyer of a receivable, just like a lender taking a lien against such receivable, must file a UCC financing statement in order to perfect its ownership interest in such receivable. What happens if you, the buyer, don't file a UCC? An unperfected security interest equals unsecured creditor. The failure of a purchaser to file an appropriate UCC financing statement will generally result in such purchaser being unperfected and treated as an unsecured creditor in any bankruptcy of the originator of the receivable. So we would be the originator. So if you were to file bankruptcy, that person who said that their interest was secured by your vehicle, your home, your motorhome, your any of those things, your motorcycle, whatever it may be, they would not be secured, and they wouldn't have priority over any of your assets. In addition, this will mean that the unperfected purchaser would typically lose in any priority contest with any properly perfected secured creditor of the originator, or if the originator has fraudulently or accidentally sold the same receivable to another purchaser that is properly perfected with any such competing purchaser. Prior to purchasing the receivable and filing the UCC, perform a search to confirm whether the collateral is encumbered. Because the UCC requires that any party claiming a lien or ownership interest in a receivable file a UCC financing statement to be perfected, it is common practice in the United States for any prospective purchaser of receivables to conduct searches of the appropriate UCC filing records to determine whether the receivables it wishes to purchase are subject to any prior lien or ownership interests of other parties. So this is what I was saying. If you filed yours on the vehicle or the house first before they record theirs, the timestamp alone would show that yours was properly filed first and you perfected your interest in those receivables before they got a chance to file a lien. So at that point, they would either have a secondary lien, or I'm not mistaken, they probably would not be able to file their lien on the property at that point if you beat them to the punch. So as a best practice, once you have filed the UCC, perform a reflective search to verify the filing was recorded and indexed properly and to confirm your position. So this right here was something beautiful. And I hope you guys basically take this in good standing and execute it. So it needs to be done. A lot of people want to say, I don't know, I'm skeptical, or, they have a lot of questions. And look at this, they're hiding so a lot of this information, but I wanted to just show you guys that. But take the information, do some studying, run with it. Again, this is not legal advice. I am not an attorney. I'm not licensed to practice practice law in any jurisdiction. This is for informational purposes only. Again, this is your host, Ali Taj Bey. This is my YouTube channel, Glitch in the Matrix, The Apocalypse. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Please share, subscribe, like, hit the bell, set it to all notifications so that whenever we premiere new videos and content or go live, you'll be sure to get a notification. Thank you. Peace and light.